Hello, everyone. This is Sheree, founder and editor-in-chief of Curls in the Hood. I'm here with February's first Convos with Curls in the Hood, the lovely Brooklyn Book Bell. Woo, woo, woo. Wait, I don't have a sound effect, so we gotta use it. Today, we'll be discussing her article, Big Love, Black Love, and her general feelings on Black romance and the genre as it stands today. Hello, Lisi, aka Brooklyn Book Bell.
I'm so excited. Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm so nervous, but I'm so excited.
Don't be nervous. I'm excited to have you. So just a full disclaimer, me and Lisi are friends in real life. So we're gonna try to keep this. We're gonna keep it. I have notes. Okay. I got questions. We're not gonna talk about Auntie Monique and Club Shay Shay today. We're gonna just stick to the facts. We're gonna talk about that later. Journal of Glasses have entered the chat. This is
okay. Journal of Glasses
business now.
Okay. Serious mind dance. Yes.
So I want to get started with the people know you as a book talker, a booktuber. And so I just want to give you an opportunity to kind of introduce yourself, because I think sometimes no one gives you better than you. So and tell the people who you are.
Hi, everyone. So my name in real life is Lisi. For those that know me, I am a transplant to Brooklyn. I have been in New York for 13 years now, so I feel like I am officially a New Yorker. Okay, I am here.
York. I heard it. You say coffee, you say New York. You're official.
That's right. And so I have done a lot of things here in my time in New York, but I feel like I'm constantly reinventing myself. Right now, I'm in retail management leadership and I'm figuring that boat out. But how I got here to like Book Talk, BookTube, and Bookstagram is during quarantine. There was a Huffington Post article and they talked about where are the Black booktubers, and me in my house reading to pass time and figure it out during quarantine was like, I could talk about some books. Hello, sign me up. And so it has kind of turned into this thing that's bigger than me. And it has been a great journey and a fun one. And yeah, and that's how we are here.
Right, that was wonderful. So I'm going to give you the same rundown that I've given previous guests. You have a lot of questions. I will be very honest with you. So the past 2 or 3 conversations with Curls, we've had around 10-ish questions, and then the conversation kind of naturally flows. You don't have that privilege. We're gonna be here all day. So just to kind of give you a rundown, so we're going to start off with your experience in book talk and kind of your literary exploration. We're going to go dig deeper into your personal narratives, some sensitive topics, your connection to Beverly Jenkins' work as it pertains to your article. We never assume that people read the article. Some people are waiting to see your lovely face on YouTube. And so we got to, we're going to fill in those gaps today. We're going to talk about some intersectionality and storytelling. And then we're going to move over to what you're doing now and what you feel, what your feelings are about Black romance now. And so we'll be addressing some topics, around representation and tropes. Oh yeah,
all right.
We're getting there.
Oh,
right. Impact, how that impacts the reader experience. How do you foster honest conversations? And then your hopes for the future. And then we'll close with any future projects you have coming down the pipeline. So let's get into it if we're going to get into it.
Oh, God.
All right. So you kind of already shared with us how you first discovered Black Book Talk, Black BookTube, and how it influenced your reading preferences. Can you share a book recommendation from Book Talk that has had a profound impact on you?
Okay. So I think it had a profound impact on the experience, and that would be You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty. So I think books are released into the masses and they hit or they miss, right? But I think some of them kind of light this fire under readers in the community and it takes off. I can remember posting a video at like 6 o'clock and it had like 2,000 views and I was like, what is happening? I thought I was just reading something. But then you find out that you're one of thousands of people who are reading this at the exact same time. And that's when you know, oh, you're in this. Okay, got it. And then you post the follow-up and people are like, no, but what happens? Are you done? Did you finish? And then it pushes you to be like, oh shit, I gotta stay up until till 2 a.m., read the book, wake up with no makeup on and tell y'all what I think. And so I think reading that in real time with other readers was the most profound moment, because I was like, oh, we're in this. This is a thing. Okay, got it. Okay,
Like you're
cool,
not out
cool,
here
cool.
by yourself. There's a community and they care
There-
what I think about this book. Was
yes,
essentially right, that
yes,
kind of like that learning. Okay. So we're
absolutely.
gonna go into incorporating some personal narratives. How do you seamlessly weave your personal experiences growing up in Birmingham or going to school in Natchitoches, Louisiana into your book talk discussions about historical fiction? Oh yeah, I told you, this was not going to be we're
Okay,
straight in the
okay.
deep end.
Say it one more time.
Okay, how do you seamlessly weave your personal experiences from growing up in Birmingham, Alabama, or going to school in Natchitoches, Louisiana, into your book talk discussions about historical fiction? So, using this question kind of to seg us into the article.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so I think what happens is all of these intersections hit when you're reading, right? You read as a woman, you read as a Southern raised woman, you read as this woman who's no longer practicing Catholicism, but that's how you were raised. This single mother raised you. Like all of these things start hitting you. And I think what happens when you read a Beverly Jenkins book is that you see all of those intersections at the same time. And they hit you in this way that forces you to be reverent to the past, and it humanizes these characters in a way that you're just blown away by her thoughtfulness and her depth into this research, and you see yourself in them, and then you're like, oh wow, what does that now look like standing on the shoulders of a Jessie Rose or or a
Right.
Vivian or a Josephine or a Belle? You're like, oh, I got to keep going. I got to do something bigger and better. If this is what was happening back then, because I think I said this in the article, as a little girl, all I thought they felt was pain.
Mm-hmm.
All I thought they were scared and sad. And so her humanistic approach to these people and their stories kind of hits you in all those places. And you're like, oh, this is a thing. You need to sit with this. You need to be reverent toward it. Yeah. So did that answer the question? I hope it
It
did.
does. And it kind of like eases its way into my next question, because I think historical fiction serves as a means of preserving cultural narratives, right? And so I think that is really important. What you just said, that as a young kid growing up in Birmingham, aka Birmingham, right? For little girls in that church, amongst other, there was another church bombing that day, right? There
Yeah,
was
right.
so and how the kind of the discovery of a Beverly Jenkins made you realize that there was a whole human experience, not just what you saw growing up in, post Jim Crow South, right? So
Yeah.
what is your hope for historical fiction novels and their ability to influence readers' perspectives on the history of the Deep South and struggles faced by Black communities?
Well, I mean, I think especially growing up in the South, you hear this all the time, like, you don't know where you're going until you know where you've been. And I would urge all young Black people of the diaspora, right, to like really pick up a historical fiction novel, whether it is romance or mystery, suspense, whatever it is, especially by someone who does the work to really tell the stories of like a Henry Adams or like these other towns that were actually there that aren't anymore, right? So yeah, so I think that would be the thing, because they need to be pushed in a way. They made history fun for me,
Yes.
and so they make it this interactive experience. And I can remember reading somebody posted about it today, all of the This Is America, the diaries of all these girls in all these times. Reading all of these historical fiction books the way that I've ingested them always helps you have such a bigger and broader understanding in all of the things that are happening right now, right? Like we talk about gentrification, and it has a direct connection to
Mhm.
things that we have already been through as a people. And it's always the stuff that they leave out of the textbooks.
Mhm.
Like it is the exact thing that they don't want you to know.
I feel like it fills in the gaps. I feel like it
Yes.
fills in the gaps. Like, you know, you and I have this conversation all the time about me and my obsession with Indigo by Beverly Jenkins, right? And how for me, it was one, right? My family's from South Carolina, Low Country. And for Indigo to have Hester, I have an ancestor named Hester. I have an ancestor named Catherine Ravenel, right? I'm a Ravenel. And to see my family, like the names of my like family members, my ancestors, you know, because these women were born in the late to mid 1800s themselves. In this book, in the region that my family's from, I was like, now Auntie Bev, right?
Who's in my
But
family?
it filled in the gaps because I think we always think about cotton and soybean and, you know, these other things. And I never considered indigo. I never knew that indigo was harvested here. And, you know, grant, and then in hindsight, right, it's like, duh, the dyes for denim, and that's all like an American industry, right? And so I think to your point, sometimes, you know, people see that you're a romance lover or, you know, a romance novelist, that you know, this is the genre you adore, and they don't see the value that some of these writers are filling in the gaps that you're not going to get in school. You're not even in college, right? Like you go
Right.
through, you know, African American studies minor or what have you, and that's, even
Okay.
those gaps. Like Beverly Jenkins is a gem. Her books need to be in the Smithsonian. That is all I will say about that. Okay.
Agreed. Agreed.
All right, so now we're going to move into encouraging diverse narratives. How do you think the Black romance genre can further encourage diverse narratives that showcase a broad spectrum of experiences, backgrounds, and love stories? And are there specific themes or perspectives that you think are underrepresented and deserve more attention?
Absolutely. I think what's so interesting about Black romance is that it is a direct reflection of our Blackness as a people, right? It's not a monolith, but do we fall into like the stereotypes and the tropes, and like, do we repeat things? Like, of course we do, right? And so then when you talk about what's being showcased the most, is it quite possibly from a Eurocentric lens? Yes, right? Are the things that are being left out the most the ones that as a community, you know, is it homophobic? Yes. Is it transphobic? Sure. Is it right?
Sometimes it just don't make no damn sense.
Sometimes it just don't make no sense. And I think in the year of our goddess Beyonce 2024, like if we as a people can't get past these hiccups, even in what we're writing and what we're publishing, and like, you know, we have a bigger problem on our hands. Like, because the creative space is supposed to be the space where you tell those ugly truths and we push those narratives forward. And it can sometimes feel repetitive. What the stories are that we're telling, how we're telling them, the settings and the characters that get chosen. So I would love to see us like take that filter off. Take it off, like, and actually talk about the Uncle Johnnies, and actually talk about, you know, those black sheep of the family that probably were the more interesting ones, but because they didn't want to go to church, we don't want to talk about them. Like, you know,
Right.
you
Their
get what I'm
stories don't
saying.
get told because they
Their
wouldn't
stories
comply.
get fucking told. Oh, sorry. Can we curse?
Yes.
To the curse space. Amen. Okay.
Right? Girls and the Hood teens ain't here yet. Right. Okay, so supporting authors leading change. So authors like Tia Williams and Monique L. Kaysen are making waves in the genre. How do you see their works contributing to a shift in how Black romance is perceived and consumed? Particularly like a Tia Williams, right? One of her works of art is being adapted to film or as a TV show.
The second one. So 7 Days in June is being adapted.
Because A Perfect Find is already on Netflix.
Right. So I think what's also interesting is like, how can I say this tactfully? I think Tia Williams has put in her blood, sweat, and her tears, right? I went to her book signing a few days ago, and she was talking about how her first book was when she was 24. She's now 48. And so this is not something that these authors are doing overnight. I think that they work very hard at their craft, and they're putting these stories out. And I think she just happens to be one of those rare storytellers that does not kind of ascribe to the norm. And it could be how she has decided to live her life, right? If you look at her and her life and who she's married to and the things that she's done in her life experience that got her to where she is now, it ain't your average Black girl, right?
Yeah.
Or what we think of as like, this is how you get the thing done. And so I would hope that pushing this thing forward that we love so much is that these authors continue to push themselves to their limits, and they continue to put out great work that they work really hard on. And one day, you know what I'm saying, we'll have more Issa Raes out here picking up Black stories and making movies, like, you know what I mean, and creating TV shows and other things, because there's no reason why we were all going up in arms about a Bridgerton, but we don't have a Levique family series on Netflix. BET, where y'all at? Where y'all at?
I don't know that I trust BET to do it.
We don't, but you get what I'm saying.
But
you get what I'm saying.
I do. And it could have started with Indigo, because honestly, that's the first time we meet Raymond Levique, when, you know, that he helped orchestrate. And then it can just, you know, that's like the prequel episode. And then we can just go into the Levique brothers in New Orleans.
Yeah. Well, we got to go with the granddaddy captured. Like, he's older than them. Yeah. I think him and Raymond maybe first,
I think that
second
overlap. They may overlap.
Yeah. There's an overlap there. I need her board chart. I need to know.
We need a family chart. We do. We do. But I'm obsessed with that series, their stories, obsessed. And the women are so powerful in Beverly Jenkins's stories. Do you have a recommendation for anybody watching this today? If they never heard of Beverly Jenkins?
Yeah. My go-to is always Captured. Listen, that is my one. That is my number one, my one done. Okay. Like, I love it. Oh my God. You mean a pirate was out here taking over slave ships and sinking them and carrying the people.
That's the one where he went and got her kids too, right? Yes.
You stop it right now, okay? I am obsessed. And so, girl, some of the ladies in the book club are reading Captured for the first time, and it is literally like watching your child grow up. Like, you're like, oh wow, I'm seeing it through your eyes all over again for the first time.
No, listen, I would have to say mine would be Topaz, because one, that was my very first Beverly Jenkins book. And as a Black girl who's now a Black woman, who's been told her whole life that she's too much, got too much mouth, ain't nobody gonna want to be with her, right? And Topaz is
an original
Catherine Love, right?
Yes.
She is smart. She's mouthy. She's tall. She ain't got a lot of body yaddy yaddy, but she's beautiful. And that was me as a young woman. I saw myself.
I want nobody to save her. She was like, I don't want you, dicks. Leave me alone.
You know, I mean, it wasn't even about being saved. Her daddy, she had to, you know, pay a debt for her gambling daddy, but it worked out. And, you know, when we're in the world of men with podcast mics, I got nerve, right? Need my podcast mic. But when we're in this space where we're inundated with these conversations about what is masculinity and how it presents itself and how girls, you know, you read a book like Topaz, and Dixon Wildhorse is so present in who he is, that this woman being smart and sassy and a whole human has no impact on his ability to love her. And I think women that identify with that need to see themselves in bodies of work like Topaz.
I think that's why I read so much romance, because I had to be told that being the smart, mouthy one is okay. You're good, girl. It's gonna be a man who's just as strong, who's gonna be with you. Like, it's good.
You know, it's like, I think about, you know, and I feel like this is where we venture into the friend zone. I'm like, I think about the men that I've dated, and I'm like, the men that we never had to discuss masculinity and those things, we never had to discuss it. It was never an issue. But the ones we did, it was an issue. And it wasn't an issue for me. But I digress. All right, we're going to move on deeper into tropes and celebrating representation. So while we just had this like lovely glowing moment for Beverly Jenkins and all that she does in this world of romance, moving into maybe more urban romance novels, right?
Okay.
There are a lot of times colorism, featureism, all the isms show up. How do you think authors can navigate these tropes more responsibly to avoid perpetuating harmful stereotypes? And are there specific novels or authors that you believe successfully challenge or subvert those tropes?
Such a good question. How do you huh. Well, I think a lot of unlearning has to be done, right? And I think because you're an author and a creative, you have to make a very conscious decision of how you move about in this world, right? I don't think the conversations that you and I have we're able to have, right? Because we didn't do certain work, right? Like I think about I think about the privilege I had being raised in the house by the woman I was raised by, and the fact that she did not allow certain things around colorism,
Mhm.
futurism, like all those types of things. So there wasn't a lot of unlearning that I had to do, but there was a lot of committing to this is what we finna do. Like, and we gonna ride this hard body, right? Like, so if you're going to want to put out safe work the same way that we do triggers and the same way that we are very protective about um, essay and other
Mhm.
things, other sensitive topics that are done, I think we really have to have a hard conversation and some unlearning around the things that we go to comfortably when it comes to representing our blackness in its fullness. Because everybody can't get left out of the conversation.
Well, right. And I wondered, my thing is the impact on the reader experience because, you and I have had conversations where I'm like, I love this book. I want to love this book. Why is she like, how did she magically become half Cuban in Newark, New Jersey? Like, now, not that they're not Cubans in Newark, New Jersey, but like everybody is, monoracially black. And now randomly, the protagonist, the belle of the story, we just like had to make her light skin, we had to give her curly hair, she had to have this other thing, we had to other her in some
Mhm.
way so that you knew she was prettier and more valuable than the other women that she was around so that the guy could notice her, right? And
Absolutely.
so like so it's like, for me, I'm always questioning like, how do you think these tropes impact the overall reading experience, and do you find it challenging to connect with characters or stories when certain tropes are present?
Yeah. So I think overall it affects me because I'll put the book down. Like I cannot take it anymore. I literally we're in the second week of February. I have not finished one book. Like, right? And so knowing me, that's like, what's happening over there? Like
Yeah.
I keep picking up books and you're right. Things are starting to like pop out and I'm like, oh, I can do this. Okay.
Because some of these authors go out their way to other these women, and I'm like, it's okay if she doesn't have 3C curls. It's
Which is
okay.
crazy, which
It's
is
okay.
crazy. Because literally the book talkers and the book girlies is like, I like a regular, degular black
We're
girl.
like
Like,
screaming at the mountaintops, and they're like, shh, he's mixed.
it's so
They're like, heard
and
you,
you know,
heard
listen,
you.
it ain't everybody. It ain't everybody. But I'll be doggone if it's a good representation. Okay. They're really clowning. And you know, I was having a conversation with another book talker the other day, and we were just talking about how um the girls are eating from the same table. Okay.
Mm.
We are recycling and reusing very similar shit. And the world is so big. I know all y'all didn't grow up on the same street. Damn, give me
Right.
something else, please.
Right. Well, I think too, there's a bit of escapism, right? Because sometimes, like, I'll curl up with my book boyfriend, hey, Ananias Duke, um, and it's just like escapism, right? Like, I was talking to an author who has her first book coming out, Jade Olivia, in a few weeks. Well, I think it's in a few months, right? Her book,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and I was joking with her, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna reread this book because I miss him. I haven't seen him in a while." And she was cracking up, and so I get why some of these storylines pop up again, right? The billionaire, the this, the that, the criminal that never gets caught. Um, but I also think that there's so many more experiences, uh, you know.
Absolutely.
And then it's like, are we like the old ladies punching at the air now? Like, is that why we feel so strongly about this? Like, are we just aging out of what is happening in Black romance?
I don't think we're aging out, but I also am a firm believer. Like, I went to school for theater, right? I have a theater degree with a dance concentration. You understand that world. You cannot love a thing and not critique it. That is not how this works, right? Like we say all the time, like, reader spaces should be safe, but I also feel like, author, bring your ass on up in here. Like, some of y'all need some critiques, and it might hurt, right? Because this is your baby, this is the art, this is the thing you birthed into this world. But you don't get better without hearing someone constructively say, hey, that was written so well. Can we talk about your character development? Can we talk about whatever it is, you know what I mean? So if you don't have real people around you to critique what you're doing, are you really doing it? Or is this a self-serving thing that you're just doing for yourself and you just happen to put it out there? Like, once it's out there, I can talk about it.
That was gonna be my next question. Like, how do you foster honest and constructive conversations about the genre strengths and areas that need improvement without the pushback, right? Because do you think that any reader feedback has honestly influenced any authors or publisher to reconsider certain tropes and themes? Or do you feel like it's one of those, then this ain't for you, and move on to the next book? Is that the feeling that you get?
Well, I think we've completely moved into unhinged territory. Like, I'm not even going to hold you. The things that I see online in the reader author space, it's scary. I want everyone to go touch some grass. Okay. I want everyone to have a couple seats. Everyone should really be going home and, like, drinking wine and smoking a blunt or doing whatever it is.
Whatever you're, right. Make a tea if you're a soda.
Make tea, get your booty rubbed on by your lover, whatever. Like, good Lord. It is, Sheree, I am concerned. I am concerned because I think we've watched, a mogul like a Tyler Perry be able to make these billions and not get caught.
Like, never.
Right. And I got a lot of critiques. He should hire me. But right, bring me on the right team, sir. But in this small, very niche space, what I see is ugliness that begets ugliness, right? Mm-hmm. Like, so I actually don't really feel safe being like, I don't fuck with that. Like, I would rather not talk about it. Like, I will read a book and I will be so turned off and like, nope. Yeah. But instead of posting it, I will mind my business because I will not be arguing back and forth with Twitter thugs. Like, I'm not doing it. Like, I have a full-time job. I got rent to pay. I'm not fighting with y'all on the internet. Find somebody else. I'm not.
We've talked about that before because I'm a little more outspoken in that way, but I'm not in the book talk community. I'm like on the outskirts looking in. And so I see something, I say something, that's what they tell me on the train every day. And, right. And so I'll use one book as an example, Demon's Dream, right? And love that book. I love the storytelling of the book, like everything. What the main character, Demon, I'm like, what is actually happening here? This man,
your message. I can remember reading your message when we were reading.
What is going on? And the reason that I'm so concerned, and I think this is where I get into my auntie bag, is because how old were you when you first read a Beverly Jenkins book?
I was in middle school.
Exactly. I picked up my mama's Terry McMillan, B.B. Moore Campbell, Pearl Cleage. I was in the books I had no business being. Okay. As a kid, because they were written well and responsibly and all that, even though the content was made a lot more mature than my 13, 14-year-old self, I understood it. And so when I read some of these books and I'm like, the coping is always via a sexual nature or violence, and we never actually address the issue. We just kind of like hunch through it.
We use love to get past it.
Right. And is it love? It's really lust. And I get it, because that's a subgenre too, right? Like, some of these books is like, get me to the point. Right. But if you're presenting it as more than that, I need more than that then. You know what I mean? Like, I need these men to be able to communicate. I need the girls, the 13-year-old girl that is sneaking this book out of her mother's bag, reading this, to not think that this is okay. And it's fine if it's one or two books, but it's almost every book.
It's so, yes.
That has this like arrested development man. They're like this man that is like in this state of arrested development, and the girl that's like, putting the city on her back, trying to save
which
emotionally.
Right, let's do the wraparound, right? Which is why I will read a Beverly Jenkins book, right? Like, I might not have liked, and I'll even say a Brenda Jackson book. I think I didn't really have an in the house example on what partnership looked like, right? Or what a man loving a woman looked like. But what I started reading in these books were these men who like remembered the little things. You know what I'm saying? And like, they could just show up and like whatever it was that woman was going through in that book, they showed up, they were supportive. You know what I'm saying? Like they was paying for shit. Sorry. You know what I mean? Like
you do not have to apologize.
These men were written as what in my head was the antithesis of what I saw portrayed on like TV and like in real life and like, so even, I read some young adult novels or like new adults, and I love that these Black authors are really writing these very sweet young men for these young girls. Like, they are the sweetest. I just read My Week with Him, and like he understood that this girl's family situation was not the best. He and his family were like, if we're boyfriend and girlfriend, your high school boyfriend, whatever, if we're that or not, I still want to support you. I still want to show up for you. I want to make this week, your spring break, your last week in high school. I want to make this the most special thing. I'm going to take you to that arcade we like. I'm going to order the food. Like, and I'm like,
come on, gentlemen. Just a gentleman. Just like raise well.
Emotionally present. A listener, an active listener. My God, someone's preaching in here. Okay. So I do think, and that's why I wanted to bring it full circle. It's like there are people writing for the emotionally intelligent.
Oh, I love that.
Do you have to find them? Sure. And once I find them,
do they? Because you do give book reading recommendations every month in Curls in the Hood, the digital man. We just had to plug that real quick. You're in every issue with a reading list.
Yes. And I think that, and when I did the book Boyfriends article, every one of those men were so well written. Right. And so I think that's why I have such an emphasis on, I think the men should start reading romance.
I think so too. I actually recommended it to Apollo Jones. I was like, sir, you need to read Indigo. And he was like, and but you know what I mean? In his own time, but I 100% agree with you. I think more men need to read historical romance. Because
if we're gonna heal this fissure, right? I think Black men have to start meeting us where we're at. And if we're going up about these beautifully written Black stories, meet us where we're at. What is it about this? So I had the best experience today because a friend who's in the book club, her husband saw me walking to the train and was like, we'll take you home. Come get in the car. I go around the corner. There she is in the car. I get in the car. And we have this whole conversation. And he asked me a few questions about like dating and love and all these things. And literally him repeating back to me, like, he's like, well, you said these things. He's like, I really feel like if you leave this type of guy alone, you start looking for, this kind of man. He even talked about it being like a blue collar, someone who could show up and like how they're going to pour into you and how they're going to take care of you. And like, because you're a very specific woman. I'm like, it's because I want me a book boyfriend. That's what I want. That's what we all deserve. That's what we deserve.
We all deserve our book boyfriends in real life. We do.
Yeah, but for him to make the tangible like connection, not to the book boyfriends, but the things that he was speaking about were actually the things that I really love about how Black men are written on the page. It was very profound. It was a tough car ride, y'all.
They were in your business the whole ride. I can sense that. All right. Are there any specific projects that you're excited to explore that are coming down the pipeline in the future, specifically related to historical fiction or Black romance in general?
You know, I did not make a lot of goals for this year because I'm such an emotional reader and I love finding something. I love the journey to get to something special. And I think last year I was so on top of like, I'm going to book conferences, I want to meet the authors, I want to talk, I want to do things, you know, and trying to be that girl. And that's really not who I am, right? Like I like organic chemistry. I like people. Is that me? Was that me? I
Yeah,
went out.
you did.
I like. Are you not charging? What are you doing over here? No, it's charging.
Okay.
It's we're winding down. But I like the organic approach. So I'm not looking too forward to see what books are coming out. I'm not really like, because then you get into overconsumption,
Yes.
which is so interesting because you're a fashion girl, I'm a book girl, and there is like this crazy parallel to fast fashion and like
Mm-hmm.
consumerism.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I ain't here
Girls
for that.
want the aesthetic, right, of being book rich. I think that's what the term is called. And it's like
Yes.
y'all are not reading the books. You're not reading the books. And I'm guilty of it. We're all guilty of having things in our library that we bought because we were super interested. But now it's become the book haul is the same thing as the Shein hauls of yesteryear, right? And it's like you're not going to read this book. Stop.
That's where we're at. And so I had to take my foot off of it a little bit to make sure I was being my real self and like who I actually am. And like, I'm a person who's big on community and connection and often like this authentic, organic thing happening. And I feel like when I lean more into that, I have more fun and I come across as my real self. And so I've kind of taken my foot off of it a little bit. So I'm not looking forward to much. I want to be surprised. I think 2024 is going to be the year of surprise, surprise. Like, it's gonna be great.
No, but I love that because I think when we're in this era of everything being content, authenticity, it's like it's really hard to come by. And so I love that you
Yeah.
are nurturing, you're recognizing something is maligned. And you're gonna take a step back until you figure out how to read into this space in a genuine way. So I'm gonna ask you, I have 2 or 3 more questions left. First,
Okay, I'm good. I'm good.
what are your top 3 books that you would like if you met a person, an alien that one of the aliens that showed up in Miami a few months ago, stopped by your house. They were like, "We coming to Flatbush, Brooklyn. We heard it was lit over here.
It is.
We like your bookcase."
Yeah, you see, I'm like,
What 3
what
books are
really,
you giving this alien so that he
oh,
doesn't like turn you into human bacon on planet whatever, planet 3012?
okay. So everyone, or if you are on my page, I go up about this book. Actually, factually, my favorite romance book is Behind Those Eyes by T.P. Carter. Hands down, it's a reread every year. It is the love of my life. These two people meet in 3 different lifetimes, and like the second one is real messy. She's like an AKA, he's like an Omega, but it's like different names for the sororities,
Okay.
like fraternities.
But you can tell by the stereotypes that whoever you
Yes,
get.
yes. And these two people who are not supposed to be together, but their spirits recognize each other. And it just leans into this dreamy idea that I have that every soul has its match and we'll find each other every lifetime. And she is literally a poet in the way that she writes in prose. Oh, it's so beautifully written. So that's one. I think that the second one would probably be LA Banks Dominion. Listen, it's something about a vampire huntress,
Okay.
going into opening the seals of the Bible in Revelations, and her vampire man have to save the world. There's something about it. It's better than Buffy. Okay. We talk about Beverly Jenkins and her ability and her depth of her research. LA Banks, every world religion was represented in these 12 books, like it, and the layers and the depth and the complexities.
Okay, because that's like one of my ongoing beefs as a haram hadi. The Muslim girls we're never anywhere.
Yeah.
We're never anywhere.
Yeah.
And so and I get it, right? Like people feel like we're untouchables, but
Yeah, I'm
Muslim
not going to say
backsliders. There are Muslim backsliders. Hello, it's me. I want to see myself in a book.
yeah, I think, but you know what, Sheree, I think, and it's so funny because I was talking to somebody at the book event the other night, and they were like, "No, this is a re-emerging golden age for Black authors. Like they are really doing the work." So I think, put me on the case. I'm gonna find me I'm gonna find you a Muslim girly in a book. I'm gonna find it, like, because they're there. The hijabi girls are there. They're on the covers. Like these authors are writing themselves so beautifully. Of course, we still have to talk about the colorism and the texturism and all the other things. But I do think that people are committed to the representation of seeing themselves and people like them in books, which is amazing. And I think the last book that I would say, you know, I probably haven't said this on a list before, but it is a book of poetry, Black Girl Call Home by Jasmine.
I have that book too. Yeah.
Is a cultural experience. Like her writing and the Black experience in New Jersey, you know what I'm saying? Like it's a comfort read for me too. Like sometimes like you have to call yourself back to yourself. And I think Jasmine does such a beautiful job at encapsulating the millennial Black woman experience.
I agree.
Yeah. Those are my three.
Those are your three. Okay. And then second to last question.
Okay.
Are there any book talk creators or other literary influencers that have inspired you since you've started your journey?
Hell yeah. Oh, sorry. Okay.
Shout them out.
Yes.
Shout them out.
Yes. Oh God. Jaleesa reads, like right now she's doing 29 Days of Black Romance.
Yes.
And I really fuck with Jaleesa's approach to the work. I think she works really hard. I think that she's fucking creative. And I feel like, you know, there aren't many tweets and things that she posts and I'm like, side eye. You know what I'm saying? I've never side eyed the girl in the last 4 years. So I really bangs with her. Of course, Shelby over at Shelby in the book club. That's
Shelby Monet.
Shelby Monet. Okay. She's so good.
I love her too.
And I hope I'm saying this creator's name right, but Satori, damn it. I mean, I'll give you her page.
Okay, I'll put it in there.
Incorporates like her literary journey and her literary with her activism so seamlessly. Like I wish I was this creative, like, and I wish I was this courageous. Sorry, not even the creative part, it's the courageous part for me, because I think we're living in a time right now where it's real unsafe to speak against the man. Okay, and we got a few mans that we got to fight right now. We're kind of, it's pressing in from all sides. And she just good. She, pretty sure her name is Satoya, but she just does such a brilliant job at blending her book, her activism, and then who she is as a person. And every time I see one of these girls post, I'm like, fucking right. Yeah. Okay. Like, you know what I mean? Like she inspires that activist inside of me.
Oh, I love that. Okay. And then my last question, we're probably at least a year and a half out from this. But what are you wearing to see Children of Blood and Bone when it hits theaters? I just need a head start because I got left behind in Renaissance. I'm not going to get left behind to see.
Be honest, is this a safe space?
Yes, it is. Of course it is.
Can you finish that book? I hated it.
Lord have mercy. I lied. It is not a safe space. I got something to throw. What do you mean? I
think I read the first one and then I got to that second one and I was
okay. Like, the second one. Okay, no, the second I can't even think of the name. The second one don't matter. Okay. This is right. I mean, the second one does matter, but I love when we talk about representation and how I joked about not seeing like the Muslims in books and things like that. I feel like if Black children have to know who Athena, Zeus, you know, Aphrodite are, then Oya, Shango, Oshun, like the African pantheon of gods and goddesses are just as valuable. I feel like Mrs. Adeyemi did an amazing job, right? And I'd say this as someone who lived in Brazil for a short time and like, you know, has been exposed to like Candomblé and certain things. And so I think she just did it so responsibly and so in a way that even if the story didn't tell you anything, you were like, who is this goddess? Like, is
There
this
you
a
go.
thing?
I think
You know what I mean?
that was my takeaway, is that I felt like you said, I think she did that whole Orisha tradition so
And
responsible.
so respectfully,
So
so
good.
like, you know, and if even for people who know, you know, certain things, it still left me in a way of like, and wonder, thinking like, my niece is going to read this and be like, oh my gosh, like I'm more like this goddess, or I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, and I
Yeah.
think that's so important because we are inundated with Greek gods and goddess culture, and even like Egyptian gods and goddesses. And it's like, no, give me my sub-Saharan and West African pantheon, because that is who we come from.
This is not the space to shout out a white man. But there is a white author who creates spaces only for non-white children to have those types of stories told. Like, he has an entire like thing where he goes and he finds, like, the black author wrote Tristan Strong punches a hole in the sky, and it is only African American folklore. So it's Briar Rabbit, it's Gum Baby, it's Anansi the spider. Like, Anansi is the main like protagonist. Like,
yes,
and I'm just
he's a troublemaker.
you know he is troublemaker. But to your point, I think Tommy did a wonderful job. Like, she has built this whole world that I am super excited to see on the screen. I do hope I like it better on the screen.
Children of Blood and Bone, or the sequel. I feel like the initial one was amazing.
I feel like
maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just
I feel like I didn't finish it. I feel like I didn't.
That's okay. It's a safe space again. I'm not gonna throw nothing else.
Thank you. I'm so sorry.
That is it. So let's just give you guys what's coming up. March issue is Beauty Beyond Youth, and I'm not going to give away what she's writing about, but Mrs. Brooklyn Book Bell will be featured in that issue. And again, if you guys are interested in contributing to Curls in the Hood, you can always email us at info@curlsinthehood.com or submit something. We have a little message box on the website. By we, I mean me. Yeah. But we are always looking for new voices. Even if you want to pitch a story, if it's in line with what we have coming down the pipeline, I will totally squeeze you in there. Or even if you just want to curate a playlist, because that is a thing too. But yes, Lacey, thank you for hanging out with me tonight. I was gonna ask you if you wanted to hit the streets after this. What time is it? It's 8:54. Tomorrow, Friday. Friday ain't a real day.
I know I gotta be right till 11.
I ain't gonna put our spot on blast, but I think we need to go.
Have all the people in Flatbush knowing where we be at.
I think you need to be in the spot 9:30. No. But okay, well, peace out, guys.